Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I will be calling and analyzing this phone number on one of the Cedar Fair 2019 teasers. So this teaser wasn't very specific in what it was trying to tease because the poster was at King's Dominion. On the poster we had the alien crater and the tractor from the Twisted Timbers, which is the new for 2018 RMC Q. It's actually pretty well themed. And then we also had the front of the Railblazer train. So today I'm going to be calling that number on that, and what they were advertising was like a calico sheds, and I called the number, and here's what happens. Like the Carowinds roller coaster is going up, so let's call it and see what it says. This is real, by the way.
Specializing in the creation of immersive shed accessories. We're currently out of the office working on a large shed for old Granny Bird out in the mountains, so she can make more of that secret jam of hers. Although her shed won't be ready till next spring, you can still strike a by on August 30th over at the trade show on Bird's Farm. We'll be there, so come say hello. Thanks for calling.
Okay. Well, so we called this number, and what's interesting is that even though the teaser isn't directed exactly towards Carowinds, if we call the number is actually based in North Carolina, and the number actually, the voice line that initiates is basically this guy that is saying that they are out of town in the mountains to build a shed for old Granny. And if you go, and they say that it won't be ready till next spring, however, you can see what's inside the shed August 30th. So this is pretty interesting. So let's analyze what this could mean. So old Granny, I've mentioned this in some of my other videos, and you can go check those out on my channel. Old Granny is basically what Carowinds uses to like advertise anything, and they're really using her this time. So what they're basically saying is that old Granny is in the mountains making a secret sort of jam, or I think jam is really a code name for something. I don't think it's actually jam. And basically every few days, or every few weeks really actually, they unleash a different type of like stuff, like a step in making the jam. So the first one was a little bit of a twist, which is interesting because in the leaked layout, the first element on the ride was a roll right out of the station. So I think that roll is that twist in the jam. And then another thing that's interesting is that they're out of town. Now I think this has less to do with the Carowinds teasers in general, and more with the Cedar Fair like canon. And I want to know what the actual town is, or where they're based, because Mystic Timbers, so Mason, Ohio, would seem like the obvious choice because of Mystic Timbers. However, I think it's actually Cedar Point because of Maverick and Blackjack Chamberlain, which is of course Maverick the roller coaster and one of the outlaws from Steel Vengeance. The shed thing is interesting because if we open up one of the new Carowinds teasers, this is actually a bit newer than the number, I just didn't think to call it before, is on their Twitter, you have this sort of a shed, and then you have the biggest announcement in Carowinds history, August 30th, 2018. So that would make sense, obviously. But what's interesting is that on the shed we have a snake. Also, they use extra S's, which is pretty interesting. Also, what's interesting is that in the Instagram teasers, they announced that the roller coaster will launch 107 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. This was in the Instagram teasers in the comment section. However, they didn't confirm anything else. So 107 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. That's huge. Actually, that's going to be very fast. And then another thing is that intoxicating, and then they use extra S's every once in a while. The biggest announcement in Carowinds history, and then yet you have that snake, which makes me think this ride will be either called or themed or both to Copperhead Strike. Copperhead Strike is a type of snake. There are some in Carolina, I guess, and that makes sense to theme it to. But it also doesn't make sense to theme it to that because that has nothing to do with jam, which is why, like I mentioned before, I think jam has something to do with the snake. But that's just what is kind of odd. And another thing I've been realizing is that these teasers that have been cropping up at different parks are very, they're on a timeline, so they're related, but they're not happening in the same time period because the technology found here in the Mystic Timbers queue and theme is not very consistent with the Western vibe found in Maverick and Steel Vengeance. So it really doesn't make sense that two Western outlaws would make a shed company. So while I think that that they are related, I don't think that they're very consistent in the time basis. But maybe the Carowinds teaser will clear that up, and maybe and possibly the dive coaster that's coming to Canada's Wonderland will also clear that up, because there have been a couple of teasers from there that I have not talked about. Anyway, that just wraps up this pretty big video actually about these teasers. I just wanted to show you what happens if you call that number, and also show the speed for this roller coaster, as well as the announcement date confirmed. So yeah, thanks for watching, and my name is Coaster Cupcake. I'll catch you all next time. Please be sure to subscribe and like the video. Thanks, guys.